Mzansi, welcome to another installment of African Farming Digital. Now, in order for the agricultural sector in our country to be truly transformed, a lot of things need to happen. And all the role players need to approach this subject much more sensitively. So I'm talking to Praveen Dwarika from Lemang, and we are going to be discussing transformation in the agricultural sector. Praveen, welcome.
Thanks, Tavi. Always good being with you.
So Praveen, the word transformation has a lot of negative connotations to it. Failed projects, corruption, the list is endless. But what exactly is the end goal to transformation?
Ultimately, Tavi, the word transformation shouldn't have negative consequences. We are a way down in our democratic South Africa. So, all sectors of the economy should be transformed. And there's no reason why agriculture shouldn't be. If you look at the statistics, for example, about where the bulk of food production comes from versus the population, it's very badly skewed, and that needs to be fixed. It's about achieving economic freedom for our new era farmers as well. That's ultimately what it's about.
Now, you mentioned achieving economic freedom for everybody. But what has been some of the challenges that prevent transformation from doing exactly that in the past 20 years?
So you mentioned failed projects, and I think that's been one of the big issues. So it's not so much projects that have failed, but it's policies that have not worked the way they should have worked. And there are a variety of reasons for that. And I don't think that there's been a lack of trying. I think it's been a case of, funding not being available at the right time to support these projects. We've seen, for example, the land reform project or land restitution project. It's gone very well in being able to restitute land to previously disadvantaged farmers. However, what's not been there is constant and consistent funding for them to be able to make those projects successful, turn that into successful agricultural projects. Mind you, there are examples where that's worked really well, but that's become, that's because of a case of the public sector and the private sector working hand in hand to be able to do that. So it's not all doom and gloom. There are some successful projects, but the bulk of it, unfortunately, doesn't speak well for transformation.
Now, there is this thought from people that, transformation, that's government's business. I've got nothing to do with that. But that's not necessarily true, is it?
Absolutely not. It's government's responsibility to draft and create policy for us, laws and legislation, for example, within which we can work. There are incredibly good policies that support transformation in the sector, but it has to be this combination of how we as the private sector players also embrace that spirit of transformation. How do we make it work? How do we partner with the government organizations that are responsible and tasked with at district level, at municipality level, at national level for that matter. But what it is that us as private individuals can do, agribusinesses, the banks, and generally corporate South Africa, what is it that we can do to support government's drive towards transforming the sector? And there's a lot that we have to offer. It's simply a case of meeting each other halfway, making sure that whatever we do is in the national interest. We need to be food secure as a country. We need to be food exporters to generate revenue for ourselves. And the best way to do that is to have an inclusive agricultural sector. But it needs to be something that comes from both ways, from the public sector as well as the private sector.
Let's say now transformation fails and it doesn't happen within the agricultural sector. What are the consequences of that?
I shudder to even think what that would be, because ultimately it means that democracy has failed. And we don't want to be talking that language at all. So it's going to work. It has to work. It will work. It just requires that meeting of the minds for us to be able to want to make it work and do the best that we can to make it work. Let's take the stigma out of it. Let's take the negativity out of it. Let's see it for what it's supposed to be. Freedom and economic freedom for everybody in South Africa. If we look at the statistics, for example, the percentage of food that's produced in South Africa and how skewed that is insofar as commercial farming sector, new era farming sector, we need to be able to embrace that. So I don't see a reason why it will fail, Tavi, to be quite honest. And I think it's simply a case of us all putting shoulder to the wheel, giving it the spirit that it deserves and making sure that it works.
So Praveen, it's not all doom and gloom. There are amazing projects out there. So how can farmers from all walks of life get involved when it comes to transformation?
I'm glad you say that. There are some incredible projects where commercial farmers and new era farmers have formed partnerships, acted as mentors to the new era farmers. And don't underestimate the goodwill that's out there for our commercial farmers being able to support our new era farmers. But it's a question of the new era farmers also reaching out to the commercial farmers when they want to learn something new, when they want assistance in their projects. And you spoke about examples. There are numerous examples of mentors and mentees in the agricultural sector that have led to really successful projects, really made our new era farmers genuine contributors to national food security. Some of their products are being exported. There's so much pride in that. There is this genuine knowledge transfer between the sectors, and we need to capitalize on that. And it's not about the black farmer and the white farmer. It's about the farmer. It's about food production ultimately. So let's take that issue out of it, and let's see how these farmers are really working together and make that the example, make that the formula for successful agriculture in South Africa from a transformation point of view.
Now, you actually just answered what I'm about to ask you, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So what is the general feeling on the ground between farmers, especially new era farmers who happen to be black, and those successful commercial farmers who are white?
So I think there's this misconception, about the size of the pie, the agricultural pie. Remember that the pie is getting bigger. It's not that if I take a slice of the pie, there's less left for everybody else. We need to grow agriculture in South Africa. So in order for us to grow that inclusively, there's certainly a role for all farmers to play in that sector. So, and I think our commercial farmers know that, and they know that well, and they're willing to assist farmers on that journey because they understand we all need to increase productivity in South Africa and not take from each other. Because, if there's this misconception that if there are more black farmers in the sector, there's going to be less white farmers. That's not going to be the case. There's enough land out there for everybody to generate a successful living.
Praveen, thank you so much for that insight. And actually, this is a very touchy subject, but it needs to be discussed.
Absolutely. Absolutely it does.
Mzansi, as we always say here on African Farming, we farm better together. And that's exactly how we are going to make sure that this thing works and everybody benefits. We have to work together. Thank you so much for watching African Farming Digital. See you again next time.
Get your free copy of the African Farming magazine now at your nearest co-op and at africanfarming.com.
Get the necessary cover for you and your family in the event of unforeseen misfortune. The African Farming Protector Plan offers you comprehensive funeral cover for your entire family plus extended family at an affordable cost. Our product also offers benefits such as monthly discounts on groceries, discounted bus tickets, ambulance services, and trauma and assault assistance, to name a few. For more information on the African Farming Comprehensive Funeral Plan, SMS African Farming to 45269 and get the peace of mind you deserve.